going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down Tuesday's 9-game NBA DFS slate. PJ Tucker is still bad at fantasy basketball. Maxi Kleber, the pivot, got hurt playing basketball. And if you played Bulls, if you played any backup for the Rockets, you're probably pretty happy going into this late night hammer. Rinpack, how you doing?
I've had better days playing NBA DFS. It's just one of those unfortunate days. I felt like I didn't have the greatest feel going into this slate. I liked LeBron James, and that's about it. Everyone else was a little bit tough. I was looking forward to play some Willie Cauley-Stein, but they ruled Powell as a starter, so that was unfortunate. Maxi Kleber getting hurt was unfortunate. So a lot of unfortunate things happening on this, I want to say Monday DFS slate. So I'm excited to talk about a Monday 9-gamer.
Been a weird 3 days in a row, man. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They have been some weird slates. But obviously we're here to talk about Tuesday. But I'm just trying to figure out to a certain extent. I mean, I have Wendell Carter as my highest owned center on both sites, but I don't know. Maybe LeBron will get there here and salvage a little bit of a night for me, but it's hard for somebody to salvage your night when they're 45% owned, but so be it. Hopefully I look at my screen and I don't want to throw up when we get done with this. That's all I'm looking forward to. So let's get right to it. We've got Tuesday. We've got a 9-gamer, a pretty heavy Tuesday at that. So before we get going, get down to that bottom bar, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo is going live. You ready to rock, my dude?
That's right.
That's right. So sitting at the top end, starting over on DraftKings, you know exactly what's going on. We've got Luka Doncic coming off of a dud is what I'm assuming it's going to be when it's all said and done. It's halfway through the fourth. They're up 20, so to 11,200 against this Boston team that's just absolutely reeling. I don't think anybody will be thrown off by him. Yeah, he's going to be owned. It's Luka Doncic, 11,200. We'll see if Zinger ends up giving it a go. I'm guessing because it was a back-to-back, they were like, well, let's just rest him, let him get going on the second half of it. So let that be known. James Harden, 10,700 up against Sacramento. This Brooklyn-Sacramento game, over under 245. What do you think it'll be?
Brooklyn-Sacramento, I'll take the under of 245, but it's going to be, I want to say 233 or something. It's going to be really, really hot.
It's going to be in that ballpark. Damian Lillard sitting at 10,400 for Portland and Denver. And then Steph Curry, who I believe is questionable. So he ended up being sick and must be very, very sick to be questionable still. But those are your four guys at 10K up on DraftKings. Who do you prefer up top, Rinpack?
So obviously James Harden versus Sacramento. I like that quite a bit. I prefer that to Luka just because as long as Kevin Durant's not there, I think James Harden's going to find a way to get his, and no one on Sacramento is going to slow him down. Put up 67 fantasy points against a very good Clippers defense. Now he's going to go up against Kings defense, which is not the Clippers defense, which is a lot worse than the Clippers defense. I like Harden 10-7. I like saving those 500 off Luka. I think it's going to be unique to go to Luka, so keep that in mind. I think that's there's merit to keeping that in mind about the ownership discount you'll get with Luka, even with potentially Porzingis back. I think that's a reason why to play Luka at that price tag. 11-2 on FanDuel. It's expensive. I think saving 900 and going to Dame, who's also on a back-to-back, can definitely be considered. Kyrie Irving, I like that at 8,800 versus Sacramento. Kyrie still got 48 fantasy points. They both played north of 40 minutes. If they're going to play high to 40 minutes, both Harden and Kyrie, you can have them both in your lineup. I don't have an issue with that. Just because we know how much ball dominant they are, how much shot volume they're going to get on this team, and especially going up against this Sacramento defense. But some pay down options to consider. Saban Lee was the one who showed out for those Dennis Smith Jr. lineups that all failed us all. Saban Lee was the guy who put up 30 fantasy points, and he's priced at 3,200. Now, he played 33 minutes last time out, so keep that in mind. I think he might be quite popular. Given mine, maybe he gets to start. We'll see what Dwayne Casey ends up doing. Other options in the mid-tier, Darius Garland is 6,100. I like that price tag for him. And DJ Augustine got the start last time. Drew Holiday has been traveling with the team. He's back with the team, so he might return. So just monitor that situation. If Augustine starts versus Minnesota, I think we could definitely consider that. Over there on FanDuel, Steph Curry's 10K versus this Knicks team. The Knicks defense has been very good. They did play earlier in the year. I forget when exactly. It was earlier in January, I want to say. He played January 21st. He put up only 41 fantasy points. But this is Steph Curry at the Garden. If you remember in 2013, I want to say Steph Curry had his coming out party at the Garden, really put himself on the map. I always like targeting superstar players at the Garden if we can get a chance for them to show out. Steph Curry has done that in the past. I think other options to definitely keep in mind. Russell Westbrook's on a back-to-back. If he's playing, if Brooks is going to monitor his minutes, just keep that in mind. But that price tag, it's versus Patrick Beverley. So he loves playing against Patrick Beverley. They will. I take the over/under of. There'll be 3 techs among the two of them. I feel like always one of them gets tossed out. So
I'll give you plus odds on that if you want to put a little coin. I'll set the line at 2.5. You take the over. I'll take the under. That sounds nice.
I don't know. I'll have to see who the refs are.
We'll talk after the show. We'll talk after.
I'll have to see who the refs are. But
ref analysis. I'm here for it.
You got to keep that in mind. It's like that whole Scott.
This
Foster
is like
thing
open mic night for you right now. You're holding the mic. If you're watching on YouTube, go on the bottom bar. Let Rinpack know if you like him holding the mic. I'm pretty sure it's awesome. I'm here for it. It's like Jerry Springer a little bit. Not Jerry Springer. Well, yeah, it is Jerry Springer, but also Jerry Seinfeld. Like, what's the deal, Draymond Green? I can't.
I had to change up the mic game a little bit. It was getting a little monotonous, so I had to switch it up a little bit. But
you've been switching locations everywhere in your house. Oh man.
With that being said, I think we should hop on over to the shooting guard spot.
All right, I'll keep it on rolling. We'll go over to FanDuel, sitting at the top end. James Harden, 11,000 there against Sacramento. Play him there. Bradley Beal, 9,800 against the Clippers. Obviously, that's going to be a tougher spot for sure. Coming off a back-to-back, playing a Lakers defense, and then getting a Clippers defense. There's really no hold up there, but it's Bradley Beal. He can spike an upside. Your NBA East All-Star starter, Bradley Beal, if I am correct. Is that not true?
That is correct.
There you go. So Paul George, 8,500 up against Washington. I expect that to be somebody that people really kind of go to. Put up 54.7, 32 minutes. Nice to see the minutes start to trend up. 34 minutes of Paul George. You could do worse against Washington in that spot. And then Fred Van Elite, according to EMAC, our boy, 8,200 up against Philly. Tougher matchup, but Kyle Lowry, it seems like is not going to probably end up being available. He's questionable at the moment with that thumb, but we'll see if he ends up giving it a go. If so, he can still get on top of it. Talk to me about shooting guard.
Shooting guard, got the beard and James Harden. I think we're going to have to probably project him as the highest scoring player on the slate, I'd say, against Sacramento.
Yes.
I like him quite a bit, 11K. Hopefully there's enough value that opens up to play him. Now, Bradley Beal, 9.8. If Westbrook were to sit on the back-to-back, I will still like Beal. I know it's a tough Clippers matchup. If both are playing, obviously he's not as exciting, but if he's low-owned, definitely could consider that. Paul George, obviously, he fouled out last game. That's when he only played 32 minutes. So I don't think there's any sort of strict minutes limit, but I'm going to like Paul George quite a bit against this Washington team. Other options to definitely keep in mind over there on DK. At the top, Bradley Beal's 9.5, Kyrie's 8.8, who has shooting guard eligibility, which is nice, and Paul George is 9,100. I think I prefer the $300 savings to Kyrie over there. Van Vliet could definitely be in play. Obviously, against Philly, he scored 49 fantasy points last time out. Now, I'll have to see what the defensive matches look like for him. I don't know how much Simmons was on him. I don't think much, maybe. Maybe Simmons goes back on him. Simmons, who I think should be definitely considered for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
Chris Middleton versus Minnesota. He showed out for all the guys who he kind of failed for the last 6 games out. Now it's only 8,400 versus Minnesota. Yes, I'm only saying only because it is Minnesota, and we saw what he could do. And he put up 62 fantasy points. I expect the shot volume to be there. I like him even if Drew Holiday plays. Obviously, would prefer if Drew Holiday doesn't, but I like that price tag quite a bit. And I think Wiggins should be considered at 6,200. I think that's someone we should definitely keep in mind with that price tag. He does have an upside of him where he can get mid to high 30s. I think at that price tag should definitely be considered. So spend down options. I think it's tough to look at value right now in the sense of it's going to be really hard to pinpoint some spots. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. might be popular He's up to, I think, mid-30 fantasy points now on the slate. And at 4,800, I think he might be 4,500 on DK, with, especially where you get the 3-point bonus. I think we should definitely consider him against even Boston on a back-to-back. Over there in FanDuel, spending down, I think, in the mid-tier, Halliburton and Hield. Halliburton showed out in front of his hometown the other night, put up a ton of fantasy points in the fourth quarter, put up 49 total in the game. I think I like both of them in Hield and Halliburton, but I like saving the money on Hield. I might have to go on a little Buddy Hield week yet again. It's been a while since he's got 40 fantasy points. Maybe it happens this week. I like that price tag at $6K. Other spend down options, it's tough on FanDuel the way things stand right now.
Bruce Brown.
Seth Curry.
Just play Bruce Brown. He's played 34 minutes against the Clippers. 4,600 up against the Kings. I really like that spot. Buddy Hield, really? We're back to Buddy Hield? We're going to talk about Buddy Hield. I guess the price tag is... Yeah, I don't want to do it. Rinpack, don't make me do it. I don't have to do it, right?
You don't have to, but it's Brooklyn.
I know. Oh, God, this game. I honestly think this total could push 245 when it opens. I bet 244. I'm going to go 244 is what it's going to open at. We'll find out. But anyway, yeah, so I really do like that spot for Bruce Brown sitting there at the 4,600 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 4,500, so I expect both of those to be very popular. 34 minutes is against Sacramento, a nice thing to see from him. No Durant, continue to be minutes.
I just saw a line. It has opened at 242, so you nailed it.
I lose. Okay, I thought it was going to get close. I can't remember which game was 242 the other night, but I was like, I would expect a little bit more here. So 430, that'll be a nice time here on the West Coast to jam some game stacks together. I don't game stack ever in NBA DFS, but damned if I don't for that one. Anything else that you're looking at?
I think Seth Curry deserves a mention. I know he's questionable, probable actually. But he played 35 minutes last time. When he's getting those mid-30s minutes, he can find many ways to get there for you. Seth Curry is obviously one of the great shooters in the league. Not as good as his brother, but he's still very good.
Oh, he's not as good as his brother? I thought he was. Oh, no.
Yeah, the percentages
are ridiculous. Has he missed a free throw yet this year? I saw he had 100% the other night.
Well, I don't know. Him and JJ Redick might be the only guys who have missed a free throw.
I'm going to double check it. I'll double check it. I was going through just sorting true shooting and whatever else, and I saw that I think Seth Curry hadn't missed a free throw this year. I'll double check here in a minute. Before we get to small forward, make sure that you guys jump over to OddsShopper. If you go to OddsShopper right now, they just added win percentage and ROI percentage so that you can sort everything based on Alex Baker's projections. You're able to see exactly on the page what his favorite bets of the day are. I can't tell you how valuable this is as somebody who loves to bet props. If you go to No House Advantage, that's a spot where I love to spend a little bit of my time when I get some extra days where they push that lock back half an hour, just like our partners over at Super Draft. But I love the prop betting, and a lot of the decisions that I'm making come right off of that page now. I can make a lot of great lineups on No House Advantage just by checking in with what are some of the favorite props for Alex Baker on the day. Kobe White couldn't get there with assists today, but there were three other props. 3 of the 4 that I bet today were just basically straight off of that page, 3 for 4. So I'm very, very happy about those kind of results. If you want those kind of results, hop over to Awesemo OddsShopper and make sure that you're putting the best bets into play every single day based off of what the number one DFS player in the world is doing. I would check that out if I were you. So that's the quick dealio for that. And that wasn't even written. I'm just here telling you exactly the way that it is. This guy's a genius. So continue tailing his plays. You will probably not be disappointed in the long run. Just a guess. You're probably going to get limited too. So let that be known. Top of shooting, or small forward, excuse me. We'll stay with FanDuel here for a second. Kawhi Leonard, 9,800 up against the Washington Wizards. I expect that to be popular. 37 and 39 minutes. I'm pretty sure, conspiracy theory Lindquist over here, I'm pretty sure they were just resting Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But I don't know that for sure. I just want to let it be known that Kawhi Leonard's playing big minutes right out of the gate. Pascal Siakam, 8,900 up against Philly. That's a tougher matchup for sure. but continues to play right around 35, 40 minutes every game, 40 the last time out up against Philly, 8,900. Not a bad tournament dart to be taking. Jaylen Brown, 8,400. Hasn't really been the Jaylen Brown you want him to be of late. Not a guy that I generally play a ton of anyway, but 8,400 is a big number to be paying for him. But 40 minutes up against this Dallas team, again, you could do worse. And then I'll loop Kelly Oubre in. Back to your in the Garden narrative. Kelly Oubre is starting to come alive. He's 7,600. The Garden. If people aren't in the Garden, is it still a narrative?
Kelly Oubre in the Garden?
Yeah. Is it still? Can it still be Kelly Oubre in the Garden night if there's no people in the Garden besides the players?
So tomorrow night will be the first night the Madison Square Garden allows fans in the stadium.
I didn't know that. Why didn't you lead with that? You didn't say that before. It went over my head when I was talking about Steph Curry at the Garden, but fans will be returning I'm going to see how
MSG
many
tomorrow.
fans, and that will tell me exactly what our exposure needs to be to these Golden State Warriors. Holy crap, I did not know that. Continue.
Yeah, so tomorrow will be the first night that they do that. To enter the game over there, you need to have a PCR test done within 72 hours. So that's kind of been kind of a halt in the process of getting more fans into the game there for tomorrow. But I believe that's what the plan is, according to a few sources. Kawhi Leonard, 9,400 versus Washington. Versus Washington sounds really good, and Kawhi Leonard is really good. So I like that quite a bit. Ben Simmons played really well against Toronto last time out. Very fun to watch in that national televised game. Put up north of 50 fantasy points. Keep in mind that game did go to overtime against Dallas. I like Tatum. Tatum, I think, will come in low owned compared to all those guys. Middleton, 8,400, has small forward eligibility. Over there in FanDuel, we got Kawhi, Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown. Price. You went over those prices. I like Siakam, 8,900. I think if his ownership's going to come in low, I think we can take some chances on him. But I like Kawhi Leonard versus Washington quite a bit. I just like targeting guys against Washington. If you haven't told, and 7,200 Chris Middleton, man, that is going to be tough to pass up on. How in the world is Middleton cheaper than Kelly Oubre? I know Kelly Oubre went on a nice little stretch there, but man. Someone at FanDuel, come on, man. Chris Middleton, multi-time All-Star, one of the greatest shooters in the league. I think we need to consider Middleton as a staple on FanDuel. Some spend down options. I think Michael Porter versus Denver. Mike Malone had a very awesome, very blunt quote at the end of the Atlanta game on why all his starters were limited, especially Porter only played 19 minutes. And now he's going to get a chance to go against this Portland defense, which is pretty piss poor. Doesn't call Jokic. So that's essentially why those Denver minutes were limited. And they all definitely got their asses handed to them by the Hawks. So I like going back to a lot of the Denver guys against Portland, especially Will Barton, 5,200. I think with all those injuries, he played 26 minutes. I think he could play 30 minutes. He always gets up against his former team in Portland. So I like taking my chances with Will Barton at that price tag, especially over there in FanDuel. I think Buddy Hield deserves a mention, 6,300 on DK, especially on the small forward position. Keep in mind with the Sacramento injury situation as well. That's going to be really important as it has been the last couple of nights. Maybe Eric Lindquist won't put on a bounty for Luke Walton at the end of the night. So we'll see what ends up happening before we talk about the power forward spot. Do you have any other small forwards that you like?
God, I hate Luke Walton. I hate him so much. 6,200 Harrison Barnes. If he plays, I'm just going to assume that he's like ready to rock. If you got 30 minutes of him, maybe a low owned control. No, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I was trying to talk myself into it. Michael Porter Jr., 5,700 over on FanDuel. Good Lord. How do I say no to such things in my life? How do I do it? I'm honestly asking you, how do I fade that?
You fade it because Malone doesn't like him. He's got defensive liabilities. That's about it. But he's going against Portland, and Porter Jr. has 50-point fantasy upside in him. So we've seen it done in the past before. I'm probably one of the biggest MPJ stands out there. I know he's not had the greatest repertoire with his coach, but I'm a true believer in his game.
I got one more guy for you, if it matters, for DraftKings. Daquan Jeffries played 39 minutes. Daquan Jeffries played 39 minutes. He's 3,800 over on DraftKings. Would you have some interest there to close out the position? Daquan Jeffries for the win if Harrison Barnes is out.
Yeah, if those guys have an injury situation, if he starts again, I'll have interest. That's a nice price tag, 3,800, especially right now. Outside of Saban Lee, we haven't mentioned much guys in the price in the 3K range or higher. So it's going to be a day filled with news, as is any day in the NBA. But on a 9-game slate, things can change in a hurry and change your lineup construction real fast.
That was the funniest thing that you've... It can really go. Let's go up to the top of power forward over on DraftKings. We are just loopy. Not even drinking over here for anybody who thinks that I was drinking or whatever. Just having a nice time, living my life. Thanks for that screenshot, Nolan. I appreciate it, as always. Oh, man. I guess I do have some pretty ridiculous screen grabs. I'm an animated person. I can't help it. Giannis Antetokounmpo, $11,000 sitting on the top end of power forward against Minnesota. Yeah, that's going to be a crazy spread, but I really don't care. I'm going to play Giannis. Julius Randle, 9,300 up against Golden State in the Garden. So here's the stats on this. 10% capacity. So out of 20,000 people, that's going to be 2,000 that are going to be able to go into the Garden. That sounds like enough people that we can have a Garden narrative back in play. In my opinion, I'm happy to say that. So out of the 2,000 or so that are going to be attending, Julius Randle at 9,300, he could definitely clash with Draymond Green, and we could have some fun there. 40 minutes of Julius Randle. Going to Jason Tatum, 8,900 up against Dallas. I like that call that you had a little bit earlier. That kind of was a preamble for what we were getting into here. And then Tobias Harris sitting at 8,300. That's a nice number still for a guy who, they just dropped his price 300 because they only put up 33, but we know he has upside there. You would prefer to have Simmons or Embiid out, but 8,300, would he be a contrarian play you'd have some interest in? And then I should say Porzingis to 8,200 because I do expect him to play.
No, I think I definitely would have interest in him, especially in a 9-game slate. It's easy to get your lineup a little different and still have a ton of upside because ownership sometimes is concentrated and you can make some jumps in ownership. I'm talking about those guys in Harris and Randall. I think Randall versus Golden State should definitely be considered. He put up 50 fantasy points in them, and he went 16, 17, and 9. That was his stat line against Golden State earlier in the year. And I like that price tag for Randall. Giannis, obviously, versus Minnesota. Look, the guy has gone 72 and 62 the last 2 times out. I think he can put up 60 fantasy points against this Minnesota team. They need him to play a little bit more minutes this year. This Milwaukee team doesn't have as good as depth as they did last year, and they have injuries right now. So I like Giannis. They're getting Budenholzer is giving him fourth quarter run even when they're up double digits, even up towards the late, going in late into the game, and so that's really nice. I think Covington seems a little too expensive, 7,200. Jeremy Grant should be considered at that price tag. I like Draymond at 6'6" versus New York. If he's going to get the start at the 5, he blew the game for them last time out. Maybe he comes out, shows the team that he's not an idiot and gets 2 techs in the last second of the game. So I like going to Draymond Green at 6'6". Over there in DK, Porzingis 8'2", solid price tag. Randall at 9'3" seems expensive, but the upside is definitely there. I like saving the 1,200 to going to guys like Siakam. Saving some money to going to a Porzingis makes sense right now, but if Randall's ownership is going to come in low, I like taking some chances there. Porter Jr. 6'2", he has an upside, but we know what his floor can be. Definitely a GPP only play there. Marvin Bagley has been playing minutes, high 20s minutes. I'll like him if there's still an injury situation there. Holmes did come back last game. But Sacramento injury news, it benefits him if those other guys aren't playing, such as Barnes. So, and GR3 as well. In Denver, Zeke Nanji started last game. He played 30 minutes, partially because he played 30 minutes. That game he did blow out. If you keep in mind what that Denver starting lineup would be, I'll be a little shocked if he starts. Maybe they go a little small with the Facu starting. That Denver starting lineup can be a key indicator for some value tomorrow. If he starts, I'll have some interest just because of that price tag at $3,100. And 11K Giannis all the way up at the top on DK, power forward center eligibility. Yeah, I think him and Harden should be a couple of the top scorers of the slate as we look back at it tomorrow night, I think.
So we saw Maxi Kleber exited the game here towards the end. I know we'll get to a couple of other pieces here too, but I might have out of the middle of nowhere, just depending on what that starting lineup ends up being. If Porzingis is out, if Kleba were to be out, James Johnson might show up out of the middle of nowhere, now sitting down there in that same range. So just somebody to keep in mind. I don't expect that to be the case, but we're just trying to talk a little bit about hypotheticals sometimes here too. So James Johnson is at the pure min at 3K. So just wanted to let him be known. You need both of them to be out. Don't get me wrong. And then I expect somebody to be popular up here. 4,800 over on DK, 4,900. Daniel Tice has played 33 and 39 minutes the last two games. Going up against Dallas in this exact same matchup on the other side, I definitely would have some interest in going back to it. It seems like they're extending him out a little bit more than just about anybody else. Time Lord's still getting his time. That's Robert Williams, for those who don't know. I guess just because he's late. I guess his nickname comes from just being late all the time. But Robert Williams not playing big minutes. Tristan Thompson not playing big minutes. So Daniel Tice, 4,800. Do you have any interest there as well? And then we'll jump over to center.
Yeah, I'll have interest in Daniel Tice. Also, the thing with Boston is they have these three center rotation with Williams, Tristan Thompson, Daniel Tice. Yes, sometimes they play the 4 and 5 together. Man, it gets frustrating. I don't have it's tough for me to have the confidence in one of those guys every night when they're on the slate. But definitely that price tag definitely stands out to me, and it makes it tough at times. Another power forward that we can mention is probably Danilo Gallinari. There's still injuries over there in Atlanta. And at that price tag versus Cleveland matchup, I think Gallinari could get hot and get going. He's one of the better shooters in the league. For him to get there, he needs like 5-6 3-pointers and some extra rebounds. And if he's playing mid-20s minutes, Gallinari can put up mid-30 fantasy points in mid-20 minutes. He just needs to get hot from the field. On 9-game slate, I like taking some shots with him in GPPs. I think a power forward that we need to who might not play tomorrow is Jeff Green. He left the Clippers game with a shoulder injury. That's going to open up some serious front court minutes in Brooklyn. And they're playing Sacramento. Jeff Green played 34 minutes last time. Obviously, was not that productive from the fantasy standpoint of view. Maybe those minutes, obviously, it might benefit DeAndre Jordan. Maybe that segues into the center position. So let's hop on over there.
Yeah, you won't believe this, but center is absolutely loaded. That was kind of the thing. This is almost like a repeat of the slate from 2 nights ago. These centers are just ridiculous. We'll start over on FanDuel because they are the true center position, whereas DraftKings you can play Giannis up top, but same idea on both. Joel Embiid sitting at 10,800, Nikola Jokic 10,500 up against Portland, Nikola Vucevic who just went berserk the other night for 63.9. He's gone 70.2 and 63.9 the last two. 9,900 now facing Mason Plumlee. He'll have a lot of ownership. And then Karl Anthony Towns, $200 less down there, but coming off a 60 burger up against the Knicks. In a slow-paced Knicks game, he's putting up 60. What could you get in a faster-paced Milwaukee game where Brook Lopez might have been a good defender a couple years ago? I'm not worried about Brook Lopez against Karl Anthony Towns. Talk to me a little bit about the top end of center, which is stacked.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these days we get stack center positions.
Put the mic closer to you. I love the personality that you have going with it. I mean, you don't have to have it there, but I was like, he's getting ready to do his stand up here. So go ahead.
So Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Vooch, Cat, they all have upside of putting north of 60 fantasy points. And to say someone who has probably the best matchup, I think, in terms of shot volume and everything put together, I want to say it will be probably Nikola Jokic, just because he's going up against Enes Kanter defense, and maybe Vooch. Still injuries there, but some guys have come back of late. Everyone's priced up. Everyone's, I think, correctly priced now with Vooch, Jokic, and Embiid. There was a time where all those guys were $500-$600 too cheap. I think they're all priced. I think spreading out your ownership over there in DK, if you're making multiple lineups, makes a ton of sense. Some spending on options. I think Porzingis needs to mention if he's going to play. Kanter on the other side of things, I think they're going to need his body versus Jokic. We'll see. They're absolutely getting waxed against Phoenix today, so he probably didn't play as many minutes. I like other options to consider. I think Nerlens Noel, 4,900. He played really well off the bench last time against Golden State. He put up, I think, I want to say, he was very good. He put up 30 fantasy points in 20 minutes against Golden State last time. Obviously, he put up 6 stocks, I believe, or 5 stocks. That will help. And it's front court in Golden State. I've always liked playing Nerlens Noel just because what he can do in so many different ways. He's not the greatest offensive player, but pretty solid defender at times. DeAndre Jordan, 5,500. I like that. If Jeff Green is out, I think they're going to rely on him to play a ton of minutes versus Sacramento. And if he's going to play mid 30 minutes, I think he played 32 last time against the Clippers. So I think we can definitely take our chances with DeAndre Jordan for sure. Outside of that, DeAndre Jordan might be, or Nerlens Noel might be the cheapest I'd be willing to go.
Not
over
true.
There on DK. Over there on FanDuel, well, let's take a look at their prices. We got Embiid, Jokic, Vooch, 10-8, 10-5, 9-9 leading the way. Karl Towns, 9-7. I like that quite a bit. Jared Allen versus Atlanta, 7,600. Solid price tag. Center is loaded. I like so many centers. I think DeAndre Jordan
you missed a biggie over on DraftKings. I'm just going to throw it out there because it's 3,900 Robert Williams, who in 21 and 16 minutes, people like to play this guy. I like to play this guy. I've been playing him all year, hoping that he would get to these 20 minutes randomly. Totally missed the boat because he was popular the last two slates. But in the last two, 16 minutes, 32.75 DraftKings points, 21 minutes, 36.25. Now, I get it. There's a huge opportunity cost at center, but we went through a lot of positions, and there weren't a lot of punts that we were like super interested on. Now, it's a 9-game slate. There's going to be a lot of news. Value is going to emerge, and you're going to want to pay up at center as much as you possibly can. But any Time Lord interest down there. And then Tristan Thompson has actually been playing bigger minutes than I thought he was. 27, 27, 30 the last three. 28.25, 28.75, 31.25. So you can punt with all these Celtics. Make sure you have some groups put in place if you're optimizing so that you're not getting like all three of Tice, him, and Time Lords. So talk to me about those three centers that you have available for Boston.
Yeah. It seems like one of those guys is always good every game, and it's been so hard to pinpoint who. That's my only problem with them. It's sometimes, and it's a 9-game slate. It feels like the opportunity cost is too high, and like the floor of Robert Williams could be less than 10. So that's my only.
Mike, a little closer. Mike, a little closer. There you go. This is so good. Oh, keep going.
So I think Robert Williams has a floor there. I think we missed an key injury situation over there. And Jermichael Green is not also not playing. So that makes Zeke Nanji a little bit more in play at 3,100. That does not sound appealing whatsoever. Maybe Mike Malone gets a little crazy and starts Bobo for us to smash in at that
Oh, man. Because we need another center play. That's what we need on this slate. I guess he's small forward now. Small forward. 12 minutes he played, 3K. Oh, man, if Bol ends up in the starting lineup, just so God help us all. I don't even know what I would do with my life. I would have... that would be so hard.
I've already played it once when he started. I played way too much of him.
It did not go well for either of us. I remember.
Yeah. So that happened against the Brooklyn team. So Mike Malone can do that. So keep in mind. But the Denver team is facing a lot of injuries right now. Obviously, Jokic at center just makes a lot of sense. That's the way things stand right now versus this Portland defense.
I would agree with you, and I like Vooch a lot. I've been riding the Vooch train, but Fournier back has only helped him for some reason. I don't know. Maybe just floor spacing. Maybe he's getting open looks. I don't really understand yet. I'm going to do some digging into that tonight. Rinpack, anything else to close it out for the people?
No, thanks so much for joining us. I know Monday DFS, a lot of the talk was disappointing, a lot of injuries. Max Kleber, now Gordon Hayward being ruled going to the locker room in the fourth quarter. It's time to bounce back on Tuesday. Follow all our content throughout the day, and thanks so much for tuning in yet again.
That's the note you're going to leave us with. Man, that was morbid. I did not enjoy that. Oh boy, I'm scared to now look at my phone here. Guys, best of luck tomorrow. We'll see you back here for Wednesday. Enjoy the nice 9-gamer on a Tuesday. What a bonus for us all. Good luck, and we'll see you back here later. Bye.